Thank you for listening to episode 36 of the Career Planning Show. Our guest today is Michael Kalles, president of Harvey Kalles Real Estate. His vision and leadership are a large part of the continued success of the company. Over the past 30 years, Michael has built the company from $147 million in gross sales to over $4.5 billion in 2021 alone. One of his core values is giving back to the community, and the brokerage supports over 250 charitable organizations. Learn more about Harvey Kalles Real Estate at harveykalles.com and connect with Michael Kalles at mike@hkre.ca. Michael Kalles, welcome to the Career Planning Show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's great to have you. You're the president of Harvey Kalles Real Estate, an independent real estate brokerage that was created by your father 65 years ago. And it has grown to a team of 280 agents who complete 70 plus transactions per week and have reached $4.5 billion in sales transactions in 2021. That is really impressive. But let's take a step back and share a little bit about your career journey from your undergrad studies up to today.
Sure. Well, let's see if I can do it quickly. So I did my undergrad at Western. At the time, I had permission from the dean to do no area of concentration. So I was able to take courses in business and economics, but also other courses that interested me. I was able to take physical education, sociology, psychology, philosophy, and really gave me a good breadth of knowledge. And from there, I worked for a year and a half for a company that's no longer in business. It was Canada Trust. And it was a training operation for real estate. Did that for, as I said, about 18 months. And then I went to the Schulich School of Business in Toronto. And then just as I was about to take my electives, Dean McKellar from MIT came over and started a real property development real estate program, which I was lucky enough to attend. I did that. And then I did another, I was playing on the tennis team at the time for the York University varsity tennis team. So I did an extra 4 months. Systems programs. Compared it to independents like Harvey Kalles, all different metrics, etc. I did that. So then I started sort of all the way at the bottom, and now I'm the president. I've got a wonderful management team with me, 5 people, including myself, and that's sort of my educational path.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. In terms of the history of Harvey Kalles Real Estate, when one goes to the brokerage's website, they're able to dig in and find out that it's been around for 65 years. It has a significant impact in the community, giving back to 200 plus charitable organizations. But might you be able to share to someone who maybe hasn't come across your brand before, what is different about Harvey Kalles Real Estate versus any other brokerage?
Well, look, I mean, like other brokerages, we buy and sell homes on behalf of our clients. But I guess the differentiating factor over the last 65 years is that family owned and operated. We have no partners. There's no franchise agreements. It's 100% corporately owned. And, you know, we've had opportunities to expand. We've had opportunities to franchise, to sell, and we've turned down all of it because it's really important for us to maintain a real understanding of not just the transactions, but our salespeople. So we've never wanted to expand beyond a point where we have a really good understanding of what's happening with our salespeople, not just professionally, but personally, and give us an understanding of how all of the transactions are going. And it's not just family owned and operated, it's really a family organization. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're most proud of, the community that we've built within the company. And it's not just us supporting our agents, it's agents supporting agents. So it's a wonderful environment.
That's great. And the level of service that you're able to ensure is definitely at a very high level based on what I've seen in the past. Now, One of the things that comes along with having the responsibility of a president is really having to stir the ship during really hard times. And I was recently watching a brief Facebook video that you had posted 2 years ago when COVID hit. Are you able to speak a little bit about some of the things that really you had in mind as you've been navigating Harvey Kalles real estate through the very stormy waters that we've seen over the last 2 years?
Sure. I mean, I'm happy you brought that up because it sort of closes the circle on the first thing you brought up, which is the philanthropic direction of our company. And it also talks about navigating during difficult times. So, let's talk with the charity first. Everything that we've achieved and continue to achieve is because of our community. It's the clients who are living within our community. And that's the reason why we feel compelled. It's our responsibility, an obligation, and a greatest pleasure to give back to the community that's helped us along and continues to support us. And when it comes to the pandemic, I guess, I haven't watched that video for a couple of years, but I think it was recorded around March of 20.
Yes.
And it's very easy to look back and say, wow, up until March of this year, we've had an incredible real estate boom, one that's never been matched in the history of Toronto. But during those times, we were going through a very challenging time. Just to put it in perspective, we traditionally, in March, first couple of days of March, we were averaging 155 showings a day for our properties. On April 18th, we had 8.
Wow.
So it sort of gives you an understanding. It's not like our business went down 5 or 6%. We went down, 95%. So we made, my father and I met, and we made a decision that we would work together, take no salary, and there wouldn't be obviously any profits in our assumption, and we would not have any layoffs. We'd keep all of our staff. And at the time, there was nothing for our staff to do, but they didn't miss a paycheck, and they didn't have to worry about, paying their bills. The people who, not just the salespeople, but in addition, the support staff. We've had support staff. As an example, our chief operating officer has been with us 45 years. We've got a number of people in upper management and administration who have been with us over 25 years. These are people who have gone to the wall for us for decades. And we couldn't dream about just saying, well, we're running into some hard times. So, you're laid off without a salary. So it's a general philosophy. Again, I think it goes back to what we talked about before. It's a family. This isn't sort of like a large company that you make business decisions without thinking about the implications on the human being.
All right, that's great. Well, thank you so much for going so deeply in your answer. If we shift over into perhaps brighter horizons, what would you say would be the biggest opportunity for you right now for Harvey Kalles Real Estate?
Yeah, it's interesting. These are challenging times, as everybody knows right now in real estate. Unit sales are, July as an example was the smallest amount of unit sales in 20 years during the month of July. So it's easy to talk about seasonality, but we're comparing it to the same month in the last 20 years. And I think there's wonderful opportunities right now for buyers. The Bank of Canada is going to be coming out with another rate announcement September 7th on, overnight rates, banking rates, and we'll see where that goes. But I think there's wonderful opportunities for purchasers right now. I always say the best time to buy a house is when you need one. And I've always used the example of if you're buying a house for 5 million, buying a house for 10 million, selling one for 5 million. This is just obviously an example. You're in a good market. Your delta is $5 million, the difference between the two homes. If the market goes down, you sell your house for 4.5 and you buy your new house for 9. The prices have gone down 10% on both. Now your delta is 4.5. You've saved $500,000 buying and selling, and people keep saying, well, yeah, they want to time the market. Well, timing the market when you have a house to sell doesn't really work very well, because if you're buying in a buyer's market, you have to sell in a buyer's market. So I think the opportunities for our buyers, and I'm hoping that September will be brighter days. There's a lot of people away this summer. I always use the example. Your listeners will have to excuse me. I'm on a sort of a walk as I'm doing this interview. But, if you look at the last couple of summers, 2020 and 21, I didn't know anyone who was traveling. Now you speak to people are everywhere, kids, parents, everybody is everywhere and traveling the world and doing the things that they weren't able to do during the height of the pandemic. So hopefully, God willing, in September, we'll have brighter days in the market.
Yeah, that's right. If someone's listening to this conversation and they're thinking, wow, I'm going to look into Harvey Kalles real estate. I want to investigate them. Maybe I'm going to use them for buying or selling my property. But if I'm, reconsidering my career options, which a lot of people have over the last couple of years, and thinking about potentially becoming a real estate agent and trying to identify what would be a really good brokerage to join. I know that Harvey Kalles is very selective, continues to keep a very tight number of real estate agents on staff on purpose. One question that comes to mind is, what does it mean to be a successful real estate agent at Harvey Kalles? Are there certain characteristics that you look for in real estate agents, and you identify those particular patterns, those particular behaviors, character traits in the most successful real estate agents who are part of the Harvey Kalles real estate team?
It's an excellent question. I think it's really two-part, and we are very selective on who we hire, but we're not selective on who we meet with. So we feel as though part of our responsibility of giving back to the community is meeting with people who are looking to get into the industry. It doesn't mean we're going to hire everybody, but we're certainly going to guide you and assist you with what you should be looking for in a brokerage. And wherever you decide to go or wherever you're hired, that's obviously a decision that's made between the brokerage and the potential agent. But it's very important to focus on many different things. And two that come into mind is one that, the company has a formal training program. When I joined and I was a Canada Trust, it was, a very formal in-class training program. And the other one is to have, this is just an opinion, is to be working in a scenario where your manager is non-selling, non-competing. Gives you an opportunity to have the full attention of your manager and know that they're not working on their own transactions, they're helping you with yours. So these are examples of things to look for. And then latter part of your question, which was what makes a successful agent, is I really believe that you have to treat the business like a business. It reminds me, going away to Western as an example for myself. Now, you leave your home, and depending if you're a self-starter or, your parents were sort of overbearing and said, hey, lock the door for 3 hours after dinner and do your homework. When you go away to school, no one's telling you that. You have to be a self-starter. So I think motivation is very important, hard work, diligence. But one of the most important things is the focus on your good reputation. It's a large community of agents. I think it's the largest real estate board in North America by members, but it's a very small community when it comes to reputation, because when you do something great, some people hear about it. When you do something that's not great, unethical, immoral, illegal, everybody hears about it. I was honored to be included to participate on a panel of 9 people from across Ontario to work on TRESA, which is the new Trusted Real Estate Services Act, which replaces Real Estate and Business Brokers Act, which has been around for decades. And, punishments are becoming very, very strict right now, which I'm quite happy about, because you want to make sure that the bad actors are not able to continue to do what they've done. And I just think focusing on your reputation is so, so important. And I always say also that it's the most expensive business to be ethical in. Well, why is that? Well, because you're selling the most expensive asset for most people. And, a commission can be very, very large, 30, 40, 50, $100,000. And so sometimes there's, a temptation, look at the payday, but you have to really focus on your long-term reputation. What do they say? It's very easy to have a good year in real estate. It's very difficult to have a long career. Have a long career, you have to be ethical. You have to do the right thing by your clients, not for yourself, but for your clients.
That's really helpful, and I really appreciate you diving into that. Well, I know you're very busy running the brokerage, and I really appreciate you having taken the time to speak with us today. How can our listeners get in touch with you if they have any questions, and how can they follow the work that you do at Harvey Kalles Real Estate?
That's very kind. The best way to reach me is on my cell, 416-723-2383. Also, my email is mike@hkre.ca. That stands for Harvey Kalles Real Estate. mike@hkre.ca. And we're on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And our website is harveykalles.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate being invited on.
Thank you for listening to the Career Planning Show. Visit rascanu.com, that's RASCANU.com, to subscribe to my free newsletter, find free events that you can attend in the Toronto area, and to connect with me, Alex Rascanu.